Let me tell you something quietly powerful about silence in the digital age. We live in a world where almost everything is shared: birthdays, coffee cups, sunsets, tears, laughter, even pain, dressed up with filters. But in that endless stream of self-expression, there's a rare kind of person who chooses not to perform. They scroll quietly, observe deeply, and say almost nothing. You might know someone like that. Maybe you are someone like that. And the question people always wonder is, why? Why would someone stay unseen when the entire world seems to be screaming for attention? It's easy to assume they're shy, introverted, or detached. But the truth runs much deeper. Because beneath that silence is an entire psychology, one that speaks volumes about human nature, control, and quiet rebellion. See, for some people, silence isn't emptiness. It's power. It's the ability to choose what the world doesn't get to see. Social media has reshaped how we define ourselves, rewarding visibility, rewarding noise. But those who stay in the shadows often see more clearly than those under the spotlight. They watch before reacting, think before judging, and feel before performing. Psychologists have found that people who post less often score higher in self-restraint, introspection, and emotional independence. They're less influenced by comparison, less addicted to validation. They're not trying to prove who they are, they're trying to understand it. And that is rare. Because let's be honest, most of what we post online isn't just communication. It's identity crafting. A constant, unconscious audition for belonging. Every caption, every selfie, every update whispers the same question. Do you approve of who I am? But when you stop posting, something inside you shifts. You stop thinking in captions. You stop seeing life through the lens of an audience. You start experiencing moments, fully, quietly, privately. That's the secret psychology behind many people who don't post. They're not rejecting the world. They're reclaiming themselves from it. They crave authenticity in a space where everything feels staged. They don't hate technology. They just refuse to reduce their life into highlights. Because once you've seen how easy it is to manipulate perception, you begin to value what can't be posted. The raw, the imperfect, the unfiltered truth. For some, the silence comes after a kind of emotional burnout. They once shared everything, until it stopped feeling real. Until every post became a performance. And one day, without announcement, they simply disappeared from the feed. But silence doesn't mean absence. And not posting doesn't mean not feeling. It often means feeling too much. There's a concept in psychology called psychological ownership, the feeling that something belongs deeply to you. When you share it, that ownership fades just a little. It becomes open to judgment, misinterpretation, distortion. So the quiet ones, they guard what's sacred. They keep their moments untouchable. There's alone. Maybe that's not loneliness. Maybe it's freedom. Because think about it. When was the last time you did something beautiful and didn't feel the urge to post it? That impulse isn't natural. It's conditioned. A decade of dopamine loops has trained our minds to trade presence for applause. So when someone steps out of that cycle, it's not detachment, it's discipline. A quiet kind of rebellion. They start cooking without photographing it. Traveling without tagging it. Laughing without proof. Feeling without filters. And in that stillness, something awakens. A deeper kind of awareness, the kind that doesn't need an audience. But not every silence is peaceful. Sometimes it's protective. Because social media has amplified a subtle form of anxiety, what psychologists call self-presentational pressure. It's the fear of being misread, misjudged, or ignored. It's the exhaustion of existing under constant observation. So they retreat, not from connection, but from performance. They don't want to be seen by everyone. They want to be understood by a few. And that's the quiet paradox of this generation. In a world obsessed with visibility, invisibility has become its own form of truth. It's saying, I exist beyond your perception. Those who don't post, they're not absent. They're overflowing. They're not detached, they're deeply present. Because not everything meaningful is meant to be witnessed. Growth, grief, transformation, the real stuff, happens privately. Unposted. Uncaptioned. Undiluted. Social media was built to connect us, but often leaves us more alone. When you stop posting, you stop performing closeness and start building real connection. You find who checks on you without reminders, who remembers you without notifications. That kind of love, quiet, consistent, unseen, feels heavier. Truer. And that's where the silent ones live. In the warmth of what doesn't need to be proven. Because when you stop broadcasting everything, you start hearing yourself again. Your real voice. Your unspoken thoughts. Your forgotten inner peace. And that's not withdrawal, it's homecoming. Yes, there are moments of doubt. Moments where silence feels like invisibility. But then you realize, your worth doesn't vanish when nobody's watching. It hums beneath the noise, steady and unshakable. That's real confidence. Not the loud declaration of self online, but the calm assurance of self offline. If you didn't post it, did it even happen? People ask. The truth is, the things that shape you most never make it to the feed. Your heartbreaks, your growth, your tiny victories, your unseen kindness, they live in memory, not media. And maybe that's enough. Authenticity isn't about constant expression. It's about alignment, between who you are and who you show. And sometimes, silence is the only honest expression left. Because the quiet ones, they feel life most vividly. They see what others scroll past. They live, not for attention, but for awareness. Their silence isn't emptiness. It's depth. It's the calm that comes from no longer needing to explain yourself to be understood. They don't need everyone to know them. Just a few who really do. And maybe, in the end, they remind us of something sacred. That not everything beautiful needs to be seen. That not every truth needs to be shared. And that sometimes the most human thing you can do is to keep something entirely for yourself. Because in a world addicted to being seen, their silence isn't absence. It's presence. And it's quietly, powerfully, alive.